What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one. So today is a nice rainy day, and seeing as the last couple times I tried to shoot this review video, lost the video card and then the file got corrupted, figured why not, third time's a charm. Now hopefully you guys can hear me good. If not, I'm just going to do a voiceover because I'm not shooting this again. I wanted to give you my thoughts and feelings of the Tein Flex Z's, and yes, I said Tein. You may say Tein or Tein or whatever the hell you want to call it. I call them Teins. The Tein Flex Z, what are my thoughts? It's actually been in the car now for over a year, and oops, wrong gear. Been in the car for over a year, and I want to give you my honest feedback and opinion and address a couple categories like why I chose the Flex Z's. How was the install? What's the ride comfort? Does it improve handling? Maintenance? And just my final thoughts on whether or not I recommend this. So let's just jump right into it. Why did I choose the Tein Flex Z's out of all the springs out there? Simple. A couple reasons actually. One, price. That was very important to me. This is a budget build. I'm a lot older, I got more responsibilities, I can't dump 4 grand into suspension. So the price of these when I bought them, $770 or $775, somewhere around that. I'll have it linked down in the description, so you can see what they're going for right now. But the price was perfect in my opinion. There's not that many coilovers that are offered in that price range. Well, they kind of are, but I'm not familiar with any of the brands, which was the second reason I chose the Tein's. Tein's been around forever. Look into the company, look into their R&D. They have been around for such a long time and have such a wide offering on their product lines. You can't be around that long and sell shit products. So you get a lot of people that have horror stories. It's just because they bought the wrong application. They weren't sure what they were trying to achieve. Yeah, go ahead and you buy those, I think they were called the Type S springs that dump your car more than 2 inches. Yeah, of course it's going to ride like shit because you just dumped your car more than 2 inches. Anytime you drop any car, no matter what suspension you're using, and you're going beyond 2 inches, don't expect it to ride like factory. It's just not going to happen. Sorry. But yeah, with Tein's, it's a brand I can get behind. It's a brand that I trust, and I know it's been around. And I did a crap ton of research on the products. You know, I strongly recommend, which is why probably some of you guys are watching this video. Look at people's reviews on them, hear what they have to say, see what their experiences are like. Now, not one person can speak for every single person, so that's why I recommend look at multiple videos, look at the good and the bad of everything, and that's what I did. The last reason is because the Flex Z's at this price range came with top hats and dampening adjustability. That was huge. I did not want to use my factory top hats, which most springs in this price range, they don't come with top hats. You have to reuse your factory. I wanted to have adjustable top hats so I can have some camber adjustments. Also, I wanted to have adjustable dampening, which basically makes the ride either harder or softer. And the Flex Z's offer that in this price range, which was one of the selling points for me. So that's why I chose to go with the Flex Z's over the other ones out there. It's the price, the R&D time they spent behind their products and how long they've been around, and the fact that you get this much adjustability for this price, and it came with top hats, which is pretty big. Let's talk about the ease of install. Now, for me, the install was pretty simple. When I did the install on my car, the car barely had 300 miles on the vehicle. You gotta remember, when I bought this thing new on a Friday night, and Saturday morning I was already taking apart headlights. I jumped right into modding this thing right away. So when I did the suspension, I only had like 300 miles on the car, which means the bolts were super easy to get on and off. For me, the level of difficulty in the install was a 3 out of 10. For most people, it's going to be around 5 to 7 if you have some miles in your car. Reason I say that is because you're going to be fighting bolts, you're going to be fighting dirt and build up over the years, or over the miles. Some, the bolts come out nice, simple, and you have a great install like I did. Some you got to fight it, heat it. I hope you don't strip any of the heads. You know, the car will fight you a bit, depending on the mileage and the vehicle. But for me, extremely simple. And the fact that they came factory preloaded, there are a bunch of stickers and signs all over that says these things are preloaded, no need to readjust them, so on and so forth. From the factory, they were calibrated. I left it alone. I didn't even adjust the ride height, so it was strictly a plug and play setup that I did. All right, so that covers the ease of install. Pretty simple, straight out of the box, popped it in. For me, it worked out great. I liked the ride height that it was set at. I didn't want to change anything. I was happy with it. I think I'm at a 1 finger gap, which is more than enough for me. All around, I could potentially go lower, but even with a 1 finger gap, I bottom out on every single driveway and every single speed bump on an angle. So to me, that's good enough. The day New York gets better roads, maybe I'll consider that, but I don't see that happening anytime in this century. So let's talk about ride comfort. This is always a touchy subject, and honestly, I think people have to really set their expectations for the product that they're buying. Now, you go and buy coilovers, I don't care how much money you spend on coilovers, they will not ride as good as the factory. That's going to be my comparison. To me, the Tein Flex Z, I find them more than acceptable and pretty damn good for what they are, and to me they're great. Does my fiance think that these are the greatest and softest suspension in the world? Hell no. She hates them. But she is not a car person at all, and she puts up with me in my car. So now I went with the 8K, and if you're not familiar with spring rates, anywhere from 6 to 8K is the perfect spring rate in my opinion for a daily driver. A daily driver vehicle, because anything above that, the car gets way stiffer and you lose a lot of the comfortability that you have. You got a lot of the static guys, they run 10K or 20K even. That's because they don't want any travel when they hit a bump. They can't afford that because it'll destroy either a fender, a quarter panel, tires, rims. They don't want any movement. When you're doing daily driving, you want some movement and you want some travel in your vehicle. And I think the 6 to 8K range will do a great job. These, the spring rates, like I mentioned, I have 8K in the front and 8K in the rear. And the ride comfortability, I'd give it a 7 or 8 out of 10. For me, it's pretty damn comfortable, and I have the dampening adjustable. I have the dampening set at 8 in the front and the rear. They can go all the way up to 15, 15 being the softest, 1 being the hardest. Actually, I think it does more than 15 clicks. I think it's probably around 20 clicks. Gotta double check. I don't find it annoying when I hit a speed bump or if I hit a pothole or a dip in the road, any of that stuff. In New York, nor do I look to drive over potholes or dips or any of that stuff. In New York, you dodge one pothole, you end up hitting 7. So you get used to it after a while. But the camera is mounted to the chair, so if the image is bouncy, well, guess what? This is what coilovers feel like. So you got a bird's eye view of what coilovers feel like if you're not used to them. But do I have complaints? Do I wish they were softer? They're coilovers, so of course not. They do exactly what I want them to do, and it rides pretty much exactly how I expected it to ride. It's actually pretty comfortable. I have no complaints. I can definitely sit in it. I've done, well, the longest journey I've done in this car with these coils is probably like 2-3 hours in the car. No issue. The car itself just, I don't know. To me, Subaru's, this WRX just isn't designed for a long distance trip. But if you're younger, you can definitely do it. For me, I don't know. I think there's more comfortable vehicles out there suited for that. But I'm getting off topic, so let's jump back. So that's what I think about the ride comfort. I like it. It's pretty good. no real complaints. It's doable over bumps and speed bumps and dips in the road. No real issues. Let's talk about handling. Do these coilovers actually make the car handle better? Yes, honestly, in my opinion, 100%. Having these coilovers on, I feel way more confident on bends and turns and at higher speeds. The handling, it's less body roll in my opinion. It definitely feels better. Is this the ultimate setup for a track? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't track the car. What I do is some spirited driving every now and then, and most of the time this car is a daily driver. So the handling, in my opinion, has definitely been increased from factory. But I can't really say this is the ideal setup for a time attack or a track, because I just don't do that. So I don't want to say something that I haven't experienced myself. So can't really comment on that. I'm sure there's other reviewers out there that have these on their vehicle that do those type of sports, and they can probably give you way better input. But I can tell you, for daily driving and some spirited driving every now and then, these things, they handle great, and I feel very confident on turns and bends with them in the car. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or comments, my final thoughts on these, they're 100% worth the money. What you get for the price, you get the top hats, you get the adjustabilities for dampening as well as camber. It is 100% worth it. They're pretty comfortable. The install was pretty straightforward and it was easy for me. Price, everything, just it checked all the boxes for me, and this being on the car for a year, I have no complaints. Oh, one thing we didn't cover, maintenance. So I see a lot of horror stories of when people are ready to change the ride height or do adjustments and they're fighting, or they feel like the collars have seized. I highly recommend every 3 to 6 months, take a look at your coilovers. Make sure everything's tight. If the threads are dirty, that the collars go up and down, brush it out, clean it out, rinse it out, get that debris out of there, because that's what screws it up. That's what makes life difficult, and you're just going to be like emptying cans of WD-40 if you're trying to adjust it and it's seized. So every 3 to 6 months, when you do your oil, look up there, see what it looks like, clean it out if it is dirty. It just keeps it, small little things like that will keep the maintenance, and this goes for any coilover that you buy, especially if you live in the Northeast like I do and you go through multiple seasons. There's a whole bunch of crap and junk that builds up onto there. So for me, it's every 6 months I'll take a look, clean it out, make sure everything is nice and free and it's able to adjust if I needed to. It'll just save you time and headache in the future for something simple right now. So highly recommend you do that. But that's gonna do it. I definitely recommend these springs. It checks all the boxes for me. I think it'll check a lot of the boxes for a lot of you guys that are looking to basically do the same thing I did. Eliminate wheel gap, get better handling, and still have a coilover that's pretty comfortable for daily driving. Yeah, so those are my final thoughts. I definitely recommend these. Me having these on the car for a year with no issues, I can't complain. They're doing exactly what I thought they were going to do, and they're performing exactly how I figured they were going to perform. So I'm pretty happy with them. But that's going to do it for today, guys. This rain is just coming down more and more. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.